speaking of NDPs and, national songs and stuff, right? Can we agree Singapore doesn't have its own unique sound? For example, if you go to the Bahamas or you go to Jamaica, you have Creole, you have reggae.
Yep.
Malaysia, I guess dangdut.
Yep.
We don't have any of that. Can we agree?
It's not the strongest.
You mean we have our own unique sound?
Girls are going in this summer, rolling in the back of the Hummer, and we gon' do anything we wanna. Yeah, we gon' do anything we wanna. Me and my girls are going in this summer, hair, nails, everything done like stunners. No, we gon' do anything we wanna. Yeah, we gon' do anything we wanna. We gon', oh, oh, da 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 da, yeah.
Holy shitballs, people. Welcome back to the Chris Hansen Conversation. And you were watching and listening to singing sensation, multi-talented songster. I call him the Songster Monster. This young man gives me chills to the point that I am worried to sing with this boy. Please welcome to the show, Owen Li.
Hi.
Welcome to the Chris Hansen Conversation, man. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
No, that was insane,
Oh
dude.
my gosh, you've been very nice.
That was insane. I picked that particular clip out of the myriad worth that I managed to find in your socials. I picked that one because I saw you again, and I saw you at the top. And you were doing harmony.
Yeah.
There's one single guy recording it 4 times, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. I can never do crap like that. It would kill me, man. Because I'd be so off.
No.
Really, dude. I mean, the reason why you're here and the reason why you're on a tribute show, my tribute show, because, I've had people who've been in the music business 40, 50 years even, okay? And people I've looked up to since I was a young man or young boy even.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And I've got them, and I had the pleasure of calling them friends now. They came to my studio, I gave them, paid tribute to them. I also pay tribute to those that are current.
Oh my gosh.
And let me tell you something, man. This is my tribute to Owen Li.
Oh man, that means so much.
No, really, mate, because you're a music icon in Singapore as far as I'm concerned at this time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, really, man. And you know something? I said this to so many of these guys that came on the show. I said to them, look, I don't take this tribute lightly. I give it also only to people whom I feel have either made their mark. We all should be grateful to for making sure that Singapore's music grew the way it did. And to the ones as well that I believe will make it even bigger.
Oh, man.
You're one of those.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris.
Seriously, man. I mean,
so much, really.
I looked through everything on socials, man. I met you only briefly once.
Yeah, once.
And then I looked through and I went, oh my God, this guy's a monster.
Monster.
No, the other way around. Songster Monster, man. I mean, not just that, you play multiple instruments too, right?
I do, yeah.
Jeez, okay, we're gonna come to that one.
Okay.
How young are you, Owen?
I am turning 24 this year. I'm 23
Holy
now.
crap, dude.
I gotta, I'm not even ashamed about it. I love it.
Nothing to be ashamed of, man.
I love it.
I want to turn back my clock to 24, man. I'm freaking what? 30 years older than you.
Hey, man, it's all good.
Yeah, no, I know it's all good. Yeah, I know. It's not that bad getting as old as me. Yeah, fuck that. But the thing is the point is that, man, dude, at 24, and you're doing that. You're doing all that. I can only dream.
Man.
Even back then, I could only dream. But geez, the way that was phenomenal.
Thank you. So
No,
much.
seriously, I meant every word, man. So little years have gone by. So very little years have gone by for you. And you've had a ton of performances under your belt. We're going to talk about all that as we go along, yeah? And I would like to hear your story right from the very beginning.
Wow, okay.
But before we get to the tangibles, do me a favor.
Yes.
Explore deep in your gut. Deep in your gut, in order that you can answer this question that I ask everybody anyway.
Is this
The way that I want the way that the question ought to be interpreted in every context. Who is Owen Li? In your own words, in your mind and in your heart.
Wow, who is Owen Li?
Don't give me something platonic, yeah?
Owen Li is a flamboyant little nerd.
Nerd.
Yeah.
Flamboyant, I agree.
Yeah.
Little, maybe, but
Yeah.
nerd, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why nerd?
I think that deep down, I'm still the little boy who loves classical music with the glasses and the acne and everything, I feel like I've spent so many years trying to grow from that, but I realized that I owe it all to that person who started it all, who was it was passion and fashion only. Yeah.
And who is that person?
It's little Owen. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're saying, okay, sorry, I may have trailed off a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're saying that little person, little Owen, is the one you owe.
Yeah.
There's no one else.
Well, I mean,
you can attribute your.
I mean, for sure, like in influencers and everything, is one thing, and like I can have full conversations about the people who have inspired me, but when you ask like who is Owen Li,
yep,
right? It's like deep down, like I've done so much in this like short period of time,
right?
But I still do not want to lose sight of the little boy who didn't have any opportunities.
Right. Okay.
I just a little boy who loves music and was very fortunate to have the support, from my family and just access to the stuff that inspired me.
So let's go to that little boy, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
That little boy, little Owen.
Yeah.
How old was he when he first started tinkering away at this?
Wow. Okay. So I was, I think 3 or 4 when I wrote. I think I can find a drawing of it, but I literally was drawing, the stuff, the stuff on the music sheet.
Yeah.
And with the treble clef and the bass
clef.
The tauge. I drew the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then right next to it, it's like a dinosaur. So, I still have that piece of paper actually. I dug it out recently, and my parents were my parents are not musicians. They're music lovers, but they're not musicians.
Right. But
they saw that and they were like, let's just see if we can send him to some
So what did
classes.
you write? You wrote notes.
Yeah.
Musical notes.
Yes.
And you did that. It was.
And it's not anyhow one. It's in the.
Really.
It's not overlapping.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
so
on the line.
It's on the
in
line,
the middle of the line.
Yes, yeah.
Right. And you do the treble clef.
Yes.
So what you're saying to me is that little Owen Li, parents discovered that this kid is a prodigy. Would you call yourself a prodigy?
Oh my
Don't be
gosh.
shy. Don't be shy. If you think so, you feel so sad.
I feel like at one point I had prodigal tendencies.
Prodigal? That's different from that's different from being a prodigy, okay?
I wouldn't say no. I do think that I mean that. I think I had how do you pronounce
Prodigious.
that? Prodigious tendencies.
Okay.
And there are some things that I can't really explain.
Right.
That
like what?
That just come
what?
Some ideas, chords ideas and stuff like that. That I don't really, especially when I look back at my classical piano days. So after that, I did a whole 8 years of classical piano.
Wow.
Just intense. So that I guess I never thought about it. I was just love it, can hear, can play, all good. So only when I started to see other performers, other pianists there's always going to be someone better, right? So when I started being exposed to the competition world of classical piano, I started to really doubt my own talent, which is why I'm saying I'm not a mega prodigy or whatever.
Right. You're saying that you're gifted, but not to the extent where it's considered wow.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say that I definitely I didn't actively choose music.
Okay.
Yeah,
actively
music chose me.
Music.
Okay.
Dude, you could have fooled me, man. Everything about you is music.
Yeah, man. I try to gotta try to balance it out a little bit. But yeah, like my classical background, I was like always like a huge fan of just music. I was always the music kid.
Right.
Yeah. So
technically you got really good at what you do.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
And musically?
Yeah, I mean, I think that because I got my grade 8 piano at 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think actually from then on, I was like, I do not think I can do classical anymore.
And why so?
Because I started to be exposed to pop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your exposure to pop came at what age again?
12.
Okay.
Isn't that insane?
No, that's fair.
Yeah, that's insane. Like I was like,
no, that's fair. I think it's not insane. I think it's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
most of us got into pop at younger ages.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of like my parents wanted to like protect me from pop or whatever. It's nothing about that. My parents raised me on, okay, I call it like my holy trinity of like my childhood. Like I listened to a lot of ABBA. I listened to a lot of The Carpenters.
Wow.
And I could not stop watching The Sound of Music. If I watch it now, I will burst into tears. And you got a great clip on your hands. Do not pull. do not pull it on. If I see Julie Andrews frolic in the field, I'm gonna lose it. But yeah, like I that was the only non-classical music I was consuming from my childhood.
Right.
So yeah, so after I would say my classical era.
But sorry, stop you there.
Yes.
But kind of strange, man. I mean, you are 30 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
When I was listening to ABBA and the Carpenters, I was in primary school.
That's nice.
How is it that you...
I was also in primary school.
But dude, I'm 30 years older, man.
It was just that it wasn't in real time.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But how did you get into ABBA and the Carpenters?
No, it was literally because my parents had the CDs.
Because they always play it.
They had the CDs. They had like the ones where you can put the CD in and it's like the sing along. Like you can turn off the main vocal and you can sing along with the karaoke words and everything.
It's karaoke, dude.
It's karaoke, right? But like, I do not know, like...
It wasn't a big silvery disc or was it a small little silvery disc?
It's the silver.
The big one.
Silver, like...
The big one?
The big one.
It's called a laser disc. It's called an LD.
Oh yes, LD. Yeah.
Then they put it into a Pioneer player.
Yes! The one that like bounces off the thing. Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah. And then you can play in analog or digital. When you play in digital means there's no background music. There's no singer.
There's no
in the
singer,
background.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can, like,
that's called digital.
You can have your moment.
Analog means you have the singer there.
Yeah.
Then you can have your moment to sing.
Yeah.
Then you put up the echo, right?
Yes.
Otherwise known as reverb. So your exposure, fair. That's fine. I'm just trying to understand, how is it that someone from a different generation, you listen to something from a generation that came just slightly before mine, which is ABBA and the Carpenters. Anyway, it's great. It's great. It's a great establishment for anyone, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got your exposure kinda to outside of classical music via ABBA and the Carpenters, right? Okay. And then what happened?
And then when I was 12, I saw on TV with my friends a singing competition called the X Factor.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first exposure to any sort of like pop style singing.
Okay.
And I basically just saw them do, you know how American singing competitions are. It's a pretty standard like thing that everyone is kind of showing what they got. You know, like, cause you know that's just how it goes over there, right? But I was so intrigued by the extraness of it all, like the flashiness of it all, and I think
the production, basically.
And no, like specifically the vocals, like when the vocals could do, like I remember hearing like the first run I heard, you know, and like the first riff I heard, and I was like, it was like a marriage of like my classical and like, you know, like it was like so technical but in the pop space, and I was just very intrigued by that, and I just started to try and imitate or just replicate what they were doing from then. So
that is a singing bit already, right?
That is a singing bit. So I think I kind of that was the shift from my classical
Right.
time. And actually during my
Not just a shift from the classical piano playing, but
the classical
also into
mindset.
singing, right? You started singing. Or you
Well,
wanted to start singing.
The thing is, I did sing when I was a kid. Like I did
Right.
I did like karaoke like to ABBA and The Sound of Music and stuff as a kid. And it was never serious. It was very casual. I never thought like, oh, I have a good voice or anything. It was just like, yeah. But you know, like during the ABRSM like classical exams,
Right.
sometimes they test you on like oral skills, like to make sure you can sing what is being played.
Okay.
And I realized that all of my other like contemporaries or like my other peers who were taking the exams were struggling with the singing. And I was like, this is so easy. What are you talking about? You know, like, yeah. So it was that kind of thing where I wasn't thinking about it. It was just kind of, yeah. But I only started to like kind of craft a voice, like a performing voice for myself after my classical
Yeah, okay.
era.
But there were three things you said in the whole of the story you just told me.
Yeah.
Three things you said. Two I want to deal with later. One would be the performing voice. Care to define what that means?
It's more of like just the voice that it's just my voice, I guess. Yeah. It's like not a super casual mode.
So it's not casual singing, but actually sitting down and making sure that you're breathing it right, you're articulating the lyrics right, and then making sure that you're hitting your notes right.
Yeah.
Right. And orchestrating the song.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Vocally orchestrating it right. That's what you meant by performing. Okay.
Yes.
No, I'm asking this question not because I don't. I asked the question, or I will ask questions, not because. Well, there'll be some I wouldn't know for sure.
Yeah.
But not because entirely I don't know, but because for the benefit of people who are watching the show or listening to the show, is for them to understand what we mean by performing voice.
Yeah.
So, okay, because some people say that, which is something I hate, because I host a lot.
Yep.
I used to compare and host a lot. And people like to say, well, Chris, do you always have that MC voice? I say, oh my God, please don't call it that. I really don't like that differentiation. You know, like, oh, MC voice. What do you mean by MC voice?
Just my voice.
It's just my voice. Yeah. And that should be how it is, you know? Yeah. But I know what you mean. Singing is a different discipline altogether, right? Right. So, and you said two things. I will deal with that later on, but I really want to. It's actually here on my computer. You went to LaSalle School of the Arts.
I did, yes.
Yeah. So usually in my mind, in my puny little brain tells me that not many people get selected to get into LaSalle. You got in in place of secondary school or?
I auditioned after my O-levels.
After O's, okay. Okay.
Yep.
And it's not easy to get in, right?
I have no comment on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
sense something here.
no, oh my goodness, y'all gotta cut this, man. But like
no, I got no cutting floor, man.
Oh, okay. No, I'm joking, all jokes. I think that with any arts educational institution, there are gonna be people, because the art is subjective. Like art is subjective in nature.
Right, sure.
So not everyone is going to seem objectively off standard.
Right.
Yeah. And there are great talents that enter this school. Like I will say that. Like no doubt about that.
He's gonna be politically correct here.
But that being said,
there are also people who are basically quite fucked up, but they still end up there. Is that what you're trying to say?
You said it. I didn't say it.
I'm doing you a favor, man. But that's basically what you're trying to tell me, right? No, come on.
There are just a few eyebrow raisers.
No, come on. There's nothing wrong with saying that. You're not wrong in saying that. It is the arts, man.
No, but I do think that as subjective as
it's subjective.
As subjective as it is, there are also some really objectively questionable choices. Yeah, because I do have a lot of friends that did not get into the institute or the course
when they most deservingly supposed to, actually.
When
should have been.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah. Especially, like, I'm never here to put someone down, but like especially in comparison to like when you see some other.
I mean, Owen, come on, man. I mean, you go for an audition anywhere, right? It doesn't have to be an institution. It can be for a show, even for a competition. It doesn't necessarily mean that judges make the right choices. That is par for the course where arts and entertainment is concerned. Even if you are vying, excuse me, for a contract to play in a club or a pub, they're not just going to be auditioning you, right? If you don't get it, and then all of a sudden they went to pick someone or some band that we'll all raise our eyebrows and go, what the fuck? Over this guy or over this group? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Some of us would, but these beauty is in the eye of the freaking beholder, right? And the audience is deaf.
For sure.
So it happens all the time. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah. No, but I do think that getting in is just one step.
Yeah.
You know, it's really what you do
During the
your
course.
time there.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of people who make it even further and that do not go through this course also. It's really what you make of it, like of your time in that environment. Like I'm grateful. Personally, I can only speak from my own experience. I am very grateful to have gone through that experience. And I'm especially grateful for the people I met during this time. I think that is like the most valuable thing after all these years, like looking.
I mean, you gained from it for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
I gained from it.
What did you major in, man?
I majored in vocals.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was a vocal major.
Tough, man.
But I did a lot of like side piano quests. Does that make sense?
No, what do you mean by
Basically, like I played piano for like a lot of different ensembles as well.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a very self-directed thing and everyone kind of is like, they're doing their own music and stuff like that. And they're like, okay, like I kind of need a keyboardist or I kind of need a pianist. And I think I kind of doubled up really well as a pianist and backup singer.
Right.
During that time.
Right.
Yeah, because I could play and I could harmonize really well. So like I was like in demand for that niche, I would say.
Sure.
So yeah. I had a lot of experience doing that, like during those.
Which is good because I mean, it gave you your base establishment as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Who do you do backup singing for?
It was everyone. It was my classmates and everything. It was.
Right.
Yeah. It was just like, it was a lot of. Yeah, and I have a tendency to know or to like want to take control of the project. So it's like I would play and like sing the harmony, but then I would like realize that someone else is playing the wrong chord. Then like I'll be a bit like, okay.
You can pick it up, huh?
Yeah. So like I think that is where like my director brain like kind of awakened like during that time because I was still so young, you know, like when I was in LaSalle and I didn't really have as much confidence to be like, yo, that is not it. Like let's review the chart. Did you learn your part? You know, like all this kind of stuff that it's.
Well, you're a real serious guy when it comes to this, huh?
Quite.
Yeah, I can tell, man. Yeah. Okay, so let's rewind the clock back a little bit before LaSalle. Don't worry about that. It's a podcast.
Not smooth at all.
It's a podcast. You know, and it's,
people listening on the train are like,
it brings flavor, man. I mean,
it's realism.
I mean, it's real. I don't like to have conversations that's so produced.
I'm gonna sit cross-legged.
By all means, man, take your shoes off. Shoes off anyway. Yeah. Take your socks off too if you like. Yeah, you sit cross-legged on. It's all cool with me. You know, we just go back a little bit, shall we?
Sure.
Let's go back to secondary school at least. Which school do you go to, man?
I was in St. Gabriel's Secondary School.
You was St. Gabe's boy.
I'm a Gabrielite.
Yeah.
I was anyway.
Yeah. Then you became a LaSallian because you end up in LaSalle. Yeah. I'm a LaSallian.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, we're not from LaSalle School of the Arts, but I'm, from the LaSallian schools. Yeah. From St. Pat's.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So you're a St. Gabe's boy. Yeah, all the Saints. Yeah. Okay. So when you were in St. Gabriel's, did you do any music at all?
That was like when I was first like finding my singing, like just finding myself vocally. Yeah. And I would say musically too, because it's a whole different world compared to classical, of course. And there is a kind of trope of classical style clashing with pop. I don't know if you've ever encountered something like that. Like when
No,
a
because
really
I've never been a classical
no,
guy.
no, but a really skilled, it's like a really, really skilled classical musician who can like totally rip on whatever instrument they're playing on. But when you put them in a pop space,
Right.
like the feeling, the alignment is just not kind of clicking sometimes.
Did you watch an episode I had with Aaliyah?
I did not watch the whole thing.
Okay, we had this conversation.
Yeah.
I think I had the same conversation with one other person as well on the tribute show. Now that you put this in, now that you've explained this to me, when you're in classical, you get exposed to pop. And I mentioned this earlier on to you as well. So you got great technical skills.
Yep.
Reading the notes, writing the notes, knowing your tempo, knowing it, all that's all good.
Yep.
But Aaliyah and I are of the opinion, and we're not the only ones, by the way,
Yep.
that you can tell that when you go for a rehearsal and with your band,
Yep.
who's technical and who's musical. And we start to ask ourselves, which one do we prefer?
Yep.
Because people like her, people like me, were more musical.
Yep.
Definitely not technical.
Yep.
But you got a guy that's technical and musical. Oh, wow, my goodness gracious me.
For me, I'm a very like, I don't like to see a lot of things in black and white. I feel like we have to advocate for more of both.
Exactly.
More of like people like not ignoring or not being like a one or the other.
So who is Owen Li? Technical, musical, or both?
I'm both.
Wow.
I would say that I'm both.
Ballsy, man. Ballsy.
No, because I spend a lot of time. No,
good for you. No, good for you.
No. This is.
I'm glad.
Like of all the PC things in my head and like just being careful of what I say. This is something I'm very sure about in myself. You know, like I'm very.
Why are you so worried about the PC stuff in your head, man?
That's a time for like a therapy session.
Oh, come on. We're having a chat, dude. I mean, come on, man.
No. The PC stuff is just like having done a lot of like national scale things.
Yeah, I know.
I have had to be a little bit careful.
Well, that one I'm not going to
By
ask
nature.
so much about. Anything is going to be breaching OSA. Don't worry about that.
No. I mean, I think it's fine now after the fact. It's just that has just kind of conditioned me to be, because I am the face. Like I'm kind of responsible. I think it's a responsibility thing. Like I've realized I've heard and I've seen careers being like end or like be in really big trouble.
But we're having a frank conversation.
Oh, for sure. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be that bad.
So.
But I'm just saying. My
don't
point
stop
is,
yourself, man.
My point is just that like as seriously or unseriously PC as I am, like me towing the balance between technical and being musical is like very much what I spend a lot of my time trying to balance in my craft.
Man, I can tell you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Because not many people throughout decades, man, have we found have got both. You know, there have been, of course, the greats. You know, even people like Jeremy Montero.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean,
Love him.
that guy's great is like royalty, right? You know, then there are those who started musical, end up learning and getting so qualified as they move along, and they get the technical stuff.
Yep.
And they've grown into even more big monsters. You know, I'm having Boniface D'Souza next weekend, 2 weekends time. And Bonnie is going to be, Bonnie has reached a stage where, from a musical guy to someone that's so up there. You know, I mean, it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful, but you can tell that there are not many musos out there that's got this. Yeah. And that's also the reason why I asked you, just watch or listen to the show I had with Aaliyah. Because that's a portion of the conversation I was hoping that you could pick up. Because
I picked up the rap, when you were talking about the rap stuff. That was I caught that. Yeah. No, but to answer your question about, I'm just gonna, because you were asking about if I did music in secondary school.
Yeah.
I auditioned for like my auditioned for like a school competition.
Okay.
Yeah, and I won it. It was called Gabrielite Idol.
Okay,
I
wow.
know, so-
Wow, original, man.
You know what? Like I feel like sometimes we just need to be campy and let it be.
Oh,
you know, like
boy.
sometimes there's a time and place for that. But yeah, I was like a little boy, and I was just like, I like auditioned with a Mariah Carey song. Like it's somewhere out there on the internet. Like I was reacting to it all like a few years later, and like lots of cringe and everything. But I you know, that was what I was about since day one. You know, like
Right.
I was just like, I just wanted to be doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that was one that I still remember. I still have the
Right.
trophy, and you know, like performing for my friends. I was not, by any means, I was like not popular at all in secondary school. I was
Okay.
like very much. The thing is, I feel like I'm quite extroverted, but during that period, I mean, secondary school is not an easy time for anyone. I think if it was easy for you, then good for you. But I mean, yeah, it was a bit awkward for me. It was like an ugly duckling phase, and I was like ignored for a lot of the time. It was just like an invisible kind of situation. But when I sang, when I did this competition, like there are still people who remember me from that now. So they will be like, "You're the one who sang for Gabriel Idol that time, right? Like, I'm so happy to see you come so far." And I'm like, I don't even know your name, but thank you. You know, I'm. It's like that was kind of like one of the catalysts.
Yeah,
I guess.
I think there's some things in life that just cannot change because
it's a canon event.
yeah, it's a canon
Yeah.
event. What's a very good way of putting it?
Yeah.
Actually, it's a canon event. Like for example, in St. Pat's, back in my day,
Mhm.
in 86, 87,
Mhm.
those years, we had contests like that as well.
Mm.
And I've never forgotten, a lot of us have, I sang as well.
Mhm.
A lot of us never forgotten some of the guys. John Glass,
Mm.
when he competed.
Yep.
We are the same age.
Mm.
Sean DeMillo,
Mhm.
right? So to this day, man, when we have gatherings, right? A shout out to you, Sean. Sean will take his guitar, right? And he will still sing,
Mm.
you know, at our little reunions and
Mhm.
stuff. I will pop in and sable a little bit, you know, but I'm not the guy that does this kind of things more often than these guys do.
Mm.
So you got, so you're right. It's a canon event,
Mm.
and it remains an indelible mark in a lot of people's minds.
Yes.
And that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So St. Gabriel's, you did that. Then after St. Gabriel's, you went to La Salle, right?
Mhm.
Then after that, you had to do your national service
I did. Yes,
Right.
that is the correct like
sequence.
timeline. Yes.
Yeah. So the chronology of events we're going to go along that way.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So in NS, were you in I don't know what it's called today.
MDC. Is it?
Yeah.
I was not in MDC. No,
Oh my.
I was an artillery boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna maybe backtrack a little bit to LaSalle days. So
Sure.
basically, at my year 3, right?
Mhm.
Year 3 of LaSalle, final year of LaSalle, there's usually during my time, there was a final recital. Like it was like a final performance where you got to it's like kind of symbolic,
Yeah. Yeah.
even though it's just like one module. It's
Yeah.
like kind of symbolic for like that is your like graduation performance. You gotta freaking go all out. I had like the most amazing songs and arrangements planned, started rehearsals, and COVID.
Oh.
So I never got to perform it. Yeah, so that was like, it was really devastating, but it really lit a fire under me. And that like, cause it was in COVID, so I just started like posting, like arranging, recording and posting all of my covers, like, because I couldn't just let it go, you know, like it was all this like pent up, like I didn't get to finish, you know,
Mhm.
and I don't want LaSalle to be it for my career, you know, like I think even like LaSalle would say like they want to see the students flourish after.
Yeah.
It's not just about like your time in the school, you know,
Right.
by right, I think we should be like helping the students like survive after the course, but whatever. Yeah, like basically it was months of COVID
Yeah.
and then army.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah.
It felt as if there was something missing somewhere, didn't it?
Yeah, I remember like I told myself like, okay, after I graduate, I have like a few months, I have like my summer break before I enlist. I'm going to like bask my ass off. I'm gonna save so much money. I was just gonna and just pursue it like so the way that I thought I was gonna pursue it.
Right.
Yeah, in a very in real life.
You had it all mapped out basically.
Yeah. And I'm sure everyone like relates to COVID. Just saying,
in a sense, if there's any consolation at all, like if you take a look at some of the musos, professional musos, when COVID hit, man, oh man, these guys, those that really managed to pivot, I salute them. I really do. I mean, guys like Stephen Francis, he became Chef Francis.
Wow.
For a while.
Yep.
He started his own F&B places. There was one he had. It was Halal Dim Sum. He shut that one down and he opened a Peranakan stall in a food court. And then when COVID was over, and the contract started coming back, then okay. But for you, it was more like, okay, I couldn't get my plans going. And that's about the size of it, man.
Yeah.
You were lucky.
I was very lucky. I think that I used the time to go online, and I think I am privileged enough to like, because I was younger, I didn't have as much of like, frankly, I did not have, I think, as much threatening my livelihood in terms of like making a living. I used that time to build.
That's the wonderful thing about being young, man. Yeah, really.
Because I mean, I just used it to just keep my like whatever ideas I had flowing, coming out. And I was doing a lot at the time. I actually hosted like a little like Instagram live talk show called All Things Vocals at the time. And I had all my singer friends, my vocal coaches like Sarah Wee, and they just came on and we just talked about vocals, sang vocals, and I was like, I started doing like virtual collaborations with like all of my singer friends and everything. I had them all like pre-recorded to go when I was in army. So I was very, very determined not to let anything fall.
So during NS, you were doing that?
Yes.
On the weekends when you book out?
Yeah, I would say the first, like the BMT era. Oh my gosh, the BMT era. Okay. Oh my goodness.
Why?
Okay, so I was PES B1.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so like if anyone who doesn't know what that is, PES is like a physical fitness.
Grading.
And like A would basically mean you're like
super fit,
as fit as can be, and so I was B1. I was just like regularly fit, and I was not excused from anything.
Right.
Yeah, that is like the main takeaway of this. Okay, so I went through like the normal like
combat fit, like SOC,
combat fit,
IPPT,
all of that. Yeah,
field craft.
Yeah, I spent my 20th birthday in confinement. Yeah, I received my rifle on my birthday. Happy birthday to me, I guess. Yeah. And I was juggling a lot of, like, I think not like being away from music, but being away from the culture of music. Because when I went into army, like especially in BMT, it was really culture shock. Because no one gave a crap about who I was. No one no one cares about like my voice or it's just that, which is I'm not saying that like I wanted to be treated like royalty in army. No, like it was just like there was people weren't even interested in having the conversation of like, oh, what do you do? Oh, you do music, that's cool. Because everyone is just on the same path. Everyone's going to uni after this and everything, so it's like, why bother have the conversation? They rather talk about soccer.
Yeah.
Can't relate. So like I did army. Okay, so I would say that army was like the first half of army. So army is 2 years usually. And the first half of army, I was doing my own thing. I was like juggling my own thing with army. And I was a stay-in, okay? Like I had no special privileges. I was in there like for a week, every single week. Like you can't go home unless it's the weekends. And sometimes you have to do guard during the weekends.
Yeah.
But I had so many ideas during army. And I remember like in BMT, I was like, they give you a little notebook and I would have like arrangement or harmony ideas. And I would like write down the notes like in the notebook.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll go home and like give them to my friends and like we will record it virtually, post covers, boom. Then Monday you gotta go back in. Yeah, it was very much that. And the thing is, no one knew I was in army because I didn't post about army. I did not post my bald head anywhere. I think there's one video of it somewhere. Digital footprint, I don't know. But yeah, like it was like all the pre-recorded stuff from like the months before and everything. I just was like, whatever it is, like I just wanna, and I didn't want to lose any opportunities potentially from people who were like, oh, I want to engage you, but like I know he's in the army, so like I don't want to touch him. I wanted to try and make something work.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my first year in army. And then right smack in the middle of army, I received a call from Don Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was like, I actually sang for Don Richmond's Proposal in 2019 with my a cappella group then. So that's how I came to know of him. Thank you, Sarah Wee, for introducing. But yeah, he was like, hi Owen, haven't spoken to you in a while. Can I ask if you are capable of putting together a group of singers, like a group of like a bunch of singers basically? And that's all I got. That was the only brief. And I was like, yeah, for sure. I have a lot of singer friends. Like, what is it for? And he said, I'm music directing NDP 2022 and I need like a almost gospel choir for the theme song. And I was like, oh my goodness, if I lose this opportunity because of army. But I didn't lah. So
Can we put that picture up? NDP.
Oh my gosh, which one are you gonna pick?
Let me look for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I remember getting the text in my bunk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember getting the text in my bunk and I was like kind of panicking. And so I was like, I would, oh my gosh.
That's the one, right?
Look at those in-ears, man. The teal in-ears. Thank you. Shout out to Fat Freak for those in-ears.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
This is actually my second NDP.
Mm.
Yeah. So I did NDP 2 years in a row, 22 and 23.
And they were both years they were the director for music was Don Richmond.
Was Don, yes.
Yeah.
So basically he called me and he was like, are you able to do this for NDP? And I was like, I would love nothing more, but I have to be very transparent and say that I am in
NS.
army. I'm in NS.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not in MDC. You know, he said that if I was in MDC, it would be easier to like pluck me out.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not.
Right.
So we can't do this like under the table, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, just stay calm. It's okay. Just give me your rank and name and your
unit,
and let me see what I can do.
Mm.
Yeah. And basically, they made some calls, and then like I think a week later, my SM like after PT comes up to me and he was like, so I received a call the other day in his and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it, man. This is make or break. And he was like, basically he said that, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, I would be much more useful to the country doing like music than like shooting a gun. Very, very frankly. Yeah.
Sure.
Even though I am a marksman, so don't play. Okay. But yeah, like so I basically from then on, I was actually dispatched out of my unit to work right under Don Richmond as his like right hand
for that period.
For that year, for the rest of my NS.
Really?
For the rest of my NS.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I owe so much to Don actually. Like then I put together the group. It started off as a 12-member group. It's 15 now. It's called the Island Voices, if you guys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I put this called like one of my friends. I felt like I was putting together like the vocal Avengers, you know. I was like, okay, like I need, because there were like certain briefs also that I had to accommodate. it being NDP and all. So I was like, yeah, like other than like the voice parts, like on my sopranos, mezzo, but all that. And then it's like the profile. I had to send a profile with everyone's pictures to NDP to get approved, and like it was such a process. But yeah, then I then got to do so many amazing things for NDP that year. I vocal directed Taufik Batisa for the like I helped with some harmonies and
wow.
And I also got to direct Aisha Aziz like for her performance of You'll Be Found that year. So it was I was very lucky. I was actually like vocal director of that year of NDP.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Yeah. And I was like 21, 22 at the time.
My goodness.
Yeah. So I was like, it wasn't even real to me. Like I was just so happy to be doing it for AMI. Like
Songster Monster, man.
Songster Monster. Yeah. Yeah, all that while like arranging and recording every single member of the Island Voices at my house.
Oh my.
Yeah, and juggling AMI. So I was not fully dispatched. I still had to go back for like my high keys. And let me tell you, that was not easy to manage. Like, yeah, but I look back at that time and I'm like, I can do anything now because it's never gonna be as hard as that. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So you're very proud of the outcome of the NDPs, the 2 NDPs you were involved in.
Yes, right? Yes, for sure. Yeah.
What was it like, man? I mean, how do you feel?
It's like just a lot of gratitude, to be very honest with you. Like that, I wouldn't say the whole NDP experience is always perfect. No one is going to tell you, like who is performing for it is going to tell you NDP is completely perfect. But what is, I think that you really just got to focus on the fact that, number one, I was doing it with my best friends in the world, like my family, and number two, we got to actually do what musically represents us purely. Like basically we for the second year, we did an evolution of NDP songs medley. And this medley is like our pride. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry
on the train. But yeah, this medley is like our pride and joy. It's crazy. It just came out on streaming platforms. And last year it was like one of our biggest hits with like 100,000 views on YouTube and everything. So it was like that we were so proud of it and we were so proud of the style. Like we are doing a cappella like in the way that we want to do it. Very gospel, very, just I had not seen it being done that way before. And I wasn't even thinking of, let's do something that people have never done before. It was just very authentically us. And Don like very graciously fought for us to be ourselves. And the fact that we got to showcase that on a national level is and the fact that the videos are out there like forever, and looking back, it's always gonna be so surreal.
Yeah, sure. If speaking of NDPs and national songs and stuff, right? I asked this question. I think I asked Danny Lung this question. Do you think? I mean, can we agree? Let me put it this way: that Singapore doesn't have its own unique sound. For example, if you go to the Bahamas or you go to Jamaica, you have Creole, you have reggae.
Yep.
Of course, where is it? It would be Malaysia, I guess, Dangdut, right?
Yep.
We don't have any of that. We don't. Can we agree?
It's not the strongest.
You mean we have our own unique sound? It's just too many different sounds, I would say. So we don't have our own unique sound, right? That we can, when people hear anywhere in the world and say that's Singapore.
For sure.
We don't have one, right?
Not.
So we can agree on that. What if, in your top of mind, no pressure.
Yep.
If I want to ask you, since you're the Songster Monster,
it's like it's gonna be a bad question. It's gonna be a question I can't answer.
I don't expect an answer. I mean, I just want to hear opinion and thoughts.
Sure.
And we can throw this. Okay, we can be wrong. A lot of people can disagree or agree. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's nice to talk about this.
For sure.
You're Singaporean. I'm Singaporean. I'm also proudly Singaporean. And just to toy this idea, man, because you're who you are. If we were to create a sound that can be uniquely Singapore, where we know that easily everywhere else in the world, people listen to that sound and they go, that's Singaporean. Now, what do you think that would be? What would it comprise of? Now, we've had people, you might not know them or remember them. You may or may not, I don't know, because of your age, you're young. In the past, we had bands that had a fusion of different ethnic instruments. Bands like Culture Vulture, before them, Culture Shock. Douglas Olivero started there. Okay? And it was kind of cool for a while, but it just didn't last. Despite the fact that we got the hula, the tablas, and all that came to play. Chinese instruments, Malay instruments, the kompang, and Indian instruments, and all the ethnic instruments came in together and created pop sound. With it. It's not truly Singapore simply because already uniquely these instruments belong to these ethnic groups, the different ethnic groups.
Correct.
How would we then make or create or invent even a unique Singapore sound?
It's hard because at its roots, Singapore's uniqueness comes from the multicultural thing.
Sure.
So it's like dare I say, even like the ethnic groups that you're like, oh, that's their sound, are not as diverse in their own right as we are.
But those are based on instruments, right? Now let's say we talk about sound, style.
Yeah.
Like reggae is a style.
Yes.
Reggae came from the roots of Creole.
Yep.
Creole is a style.
Yep.
They created a style based on the way they speak, right? Now, what could we do?
But those roots go back so far.
Yeah, we're a very young country.
Yeah, ours only go back so far.
But we got to start somewhere.
Yeah, we do.
Don't you think we should? Do you think we should or shouldn't?
It has to be authentic.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
of course,
I cannot, like I don't want anyone to be creating a Singapore sound for the sake of creating a Singapore sound.
It's got to come from naturally. You mean?
Yeah, you know, like just be yourself and be excellently yourself.
Do you think there's a need for one?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
If let's say, assuming on a hypothesis that there is a need for one, let's just say for fun, okay? Do you think it could ever happen given looking at the current music scene and how vibrant or otherwise it is?
Never say never, but there's okay. Very frankly, right now, I look at the music scene, I see a lot of individuality being kind of embraced more than like a specific, like this is our collective country sound. And I feel like that's also like kind of what people want to do, like time-wise, like in our generation. Like we are more like serving ourselves.
Self-serving.
Yeah, serving, which is not 100% a bad thing. I do feel like embracing individuality is like something that we don't really have a history of doing. Yeah, like whether it be musically or like like personally.
But it would be nice, don't you think, if we have our own sound?
Yeah, for sure.
And the only way you're saying...
We all want things in life.
Sure, of course. You know, but happy things naturally.
For
but
sure.
This would be a happy thing. But based on what you've just said, the individuality, the self-servingness, if you will, of people today in general, in musos, people are individuals, that is going to be quite hard for that to happen if people don't come together.
For sure.
To figure it out, right?
For sure.
Do you feel or know anything at all in the past whether or not musos of old in Singapore, they're still musos today. Once a muso, always a muso. Yeah. Were they together? Were they trying to get something going?
I think so. From what from what I hear from like what my parents would like tell me about their experiences with, the musicians of their day, the local musicians of their day, it was definitely more community minded.
Mm.
And yeah, like it was like everyone kind of knew each other. Kind of thing.
I've spoken with Jerry Fernandez.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Jerry, and with Mel Ferdinand. I told you earlier on. Most of my older musician friends, we all look back again. I live in nostalgia. Back in the old days, man, we had this thing called Talent Time.
Talent Time.
Yeah, it was huge in this country.
Sounds like a great time.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, man, I'm glued to the TV set. And anybody, any person in Singapore went through auditions in the old RTS, Radio Television Singapore, which eventually became SBC, Singapore Broadcasting Corporation. Then it became TCS, Television Corporation Singapore, and now MediaCorp. Yeah, just give you that history. And back then, black and white, orchestras. Yeah, they had orchestra playing. Like you get big band sound stuff, and they break it into solo and into group. And that's where Dick Lee went on to compete. Jacinta. Right? I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, Corpo. So many. Robert Fernando. So many people, man. Names that we know today. And it was great for the country because we were growing, exposing our talents. And I remember Mel saying that, you should just bring it back, man. I mean, and back in the day, right? We know all these bands, our local bands. The Singapore person, citizen. Most of us, especially those who love music, will know who's who. Bands of old, Flybaits. You heard of Flybaits? Jeez, these guys were monsters. Flybaits, the late great Jerry La Chica, Horace Utapia. He's still, I just saw him a couple of months ago. Gypsy, where Mel was from, the family band. Of course, Gingerbread, who I'm very proud to say, Jason and Anne, my friends of mine, and Dudley. And then there's Tokyo Square, Linda Elizabeth, Max Subrin. How do we know all these? K. Hamid, Iskandar Ismail, the late Iskandar Ismail. How do we know this? Because back then, right, our broadcaster would go out there and they hunt and they see bands, right? And see, these guys are good. Bring them on the show. And they come in and they perform. They got a show. And we see them on TV. They're televised. And you say, oh, these guys are good. And we do. Where they playing, man? We go find out where they play. That has got to come back.
Right now, like the consumption is very curated, person to person of the consumer. Like like people don't really, people want to hear what they want to hear. And it's not much of me going out of my way to get the music as opposed to like the music being brought to me.
How do you feel about that?
Well, the algorithm has had great moments for me. I will not lie. Like I've been very fortunate for, to be able to reach like whatever crowd that I've reached, like that so far, without having to I cannot tell you that I understand what it was like to have like a music career back then too. And very frankly, like this is kind of all I know at the current moment.
No, I'm asking for your opinion. I'm basically asking about for you.
But yes, I do think that the culture of in-person supporting these musicians has to be stronger. Yeah, and it exists. Like the support and the community exists.
Yeah,
it's just that the world's a lot bigger now, and there is just so many different more sub-genre, communities. More specific stuff.
Now, man. Things I don't even freaking genres I don't even freaking understand now, man. Right. My son that day was telling me there's this thing called hip-hop jazz. I said, what the hell is hip-hop jazz? Jeez. Good grief.
I can kind of understand maybe how that would sound.
You're the Songster Monster, man.
Yeah. No, because at least, Well, but I honestly, I also spend quite a lot of my time like not really conversing about stuff like this. Like I've always just like tried to not hide in a bubble, but like just focus on doing what makes me happy.
Sure, you see, but that's where you become one of those individuals, don't you think? Okay.
I would say a little, yeah.
I don't want to put you in the spot, mate.
No, it's nice.
But I tell you, people like me, people like the older guys, I tell you what we wish for. We wish that we can have all of our musos thinking for each other, man. You know? Everyone knows who is everyone else. Whether or not you're younger or older, doesn't matter, you know. We all can tap on each other's strengths.
For sure. And I would say that musos supporting musos is not lost in our current community. I will say that. It's the audience.
Yep.
It's the gen pop.
Yeah, but I think, you know what I think? The gen pop can be tamed. And we have got to realize that we're the ones that got to do the taming. This riffing thing, I told you earlier on, I want to bring this up, right?
Yep.
This is where I'm going to bring this up.
Yep.
Tell me the hell's a riff?
A riff?
Yeah.
You heard it in the video.
Yeah, I know. So the
Yeah.
Aren't those called runs?
It's okay. So a riff, I define like a riff as more of like
guitar riff. I know.
Yeah, like a memorable lick, or like a which can be done with the voice too, but it's more of like a repeating.
Can you do one for me now? Impromptu.
It's like I don't know. You know, like when like the Keisha, I don't want to get you copyrighted either. Or it's like the.
It won't be because it's live. I mean, not live. It's recorded now in front of cameras.
Yeah. It's like a like if someone went like like that's like a
Boys and Men thing, man.
Yeah. But like a run would be like you know,
what's
like
the bloody difference? I can't tell a difference.
One is
a riff is repeating.
Kind of, yeah. I don't think there is a need to actually define it so harshly. It's just all like a lot of people categorize riffs and runs in the same sentence. It's like, oh, your riffs and runs, you know.
Okay, so what you're saying is riff and runs are about the same thing?
Yeah, same difference. Like run is like I like to think of it as like a singular thing.
Right.
And riffs are like they exist like a bit more in a context.
Okay, you see, here's I think in my opinion, this is opinion, people who are older, right? Yeah. We are straight singers. Yeah. You know? You know that. It's so strange. Then we see the guys as they get younger and younger. They're all doing that. We call them runs.
Are we all doing that?
And now the first thing, I don't know. I mean, to me, if I catch a young person singing, there's going to exist the runs.
Yeah.
And then, and I don't like it, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't like the runs. It gives me the runs. And then when I was checking you out and I went on your socials and I saw you talking about riffs, and that's when it grew me another hole in my ass, because I was going like, what the fuck?
That's not me, man. That's not my intention. I would like to make it clear. I was like, I never want to drill a hole into anyone's ass.
Oh God, what the hell is riffs now? Is giving me a fistula. So what's riffs? I know runs. What are riffs? And that's where, and I know guitar riffs. So to me, I was thinking the same. Could it be something where you play a guitar riff and it's more repetitive and everything? And is that what it means? So I just wanted to clear that one.
It's just interchangeable in my opinion.
Okay,
when it comes
I'm
to vocals,
just being anal about this
Don't
man.
worry.
Okay, so which genre do you actually like?
I would say I sit in like a intersection of like pop, R&B, and acapella.
Pop, R&B, acapella. Okay.
Yeah. Not that acapella is like a full genre. There's rock acapella, and there's like R&B acapella, and there's like there's the subgenres in acapella.
Yeah.
But I think pop, R&B, acapella, the Venn diagram intersection, like in the middle is vocal centric music. That's what I've always been super passionate about. Like I love listening to singers. Like for me, the voice kind of comes first. Not saying that I ignore everything else, but the voice comes first, like the tone, the control. You don't really have to do a lot of runs, but sometimes I can hear whether you just have general control over your voice or not.
Okay.
I'm not like a everyone has to do runs kind of situation, but runs are like kind of an indication sometimes of like just a bit more control, a bit more like specific, like detailed control over your instrument.
You know, when you hear me sing, I'm going to be real fucked.
But it's not, no, it's not about that. It's like note separation.
It's like, Chris, you got no control, Chris. Fuck off.
It's not about that.
Chris, you're screwed, Chris.
And I also don't think that every runner singer is a good singer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because you can do runs doesn't necessarily mean you're a good singer.
Of course, not like it might mean you're a skilled singer, but it doesn't mean you're like emotive singer or something. I do think this is about time and place and everything.
Yeah.
And like my love for pop, my love for pop and R&B is like it makes it feeling first.
Right.
Yeah. Like it's actually always feeling first for me. Like if I don't feel it and I don't feel it, you know, then the acapella kind of brings in the technicality of it, and that's what rounds out my musicality and technicality. You
know, all the things you just said. So to me, right, it's this guy is so into this whole game. Mm-hmm. The things you say, the way you describe things, and I'm telling myself, Chris, thank God you didn't get into this game, because I think it's gonna hate you so much if he ever has to sing with you.
No.
Yeah, man.
As I said, it's feeling first.
Yeah. I know.
I hate you. I'm gonna refill my water.
Anyways, you know, I truly admire you, bro. I mean, I gotta tell you, man. I mean, the things you've done in such a short span of time is really crazy. You've done things I can only dream of. NDP was one. I've always wanted to host the NDP.
Oh, it's very intense, I would say.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Great. You know, I've always wanted it, but now I'm too freaking old to do it, so never mind. And then, you know, stuff I've seen, you went on these big concert stages, right, in Fort Canning Park, blah, 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 you know, and I go, my God, this guy's living a life, man. Really living the life, man. I mean, for those who are entertainers, those who are musos, we understand that feel. You know, having the opportunity to do these kind of things.
Yeah.
I want to ask you though, Owen Li's endgame. What's your endgame? I know you're only 23, 24 years old. Still a long way to go, because there's got to be an endgame somewhere, right? Because people will only aspire for things they aspire to.
When I was years ago when it was just starting, I just wanted to like keep doing it, like get one opportunity. You know, when you start off and you've had no opportunities, all you want is that one opportunity, and then over the years it just keeps coming. You know, and being a freelancer, being a freelancer or being a creative, you're always gonna have that dip and that rise and that dip and that crash. Sometimes, you know, like it's never gonna be like as
smooth
like that as like other career paths, I think.
Right.
So I understand that. So I don't see myself like I'm not saying that, I just want to be like constantly happy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's more about I just want to have a good head on my shoulders to keep pushing through this fulfillingly, and just keep getting better. Because it's really I quite prioritize being present in a lot of the things that I do. So whenever I do like one of these shows, right, and I'm in that moment, it's like makes me so freaking happy. I always want to kind of chase that happiness. Yeah, but eventually I do maybe want to step into a bit more educational stuff. Maybe don't hold me to it. I'm not the most like.
What do you mean by educational stuff?
Just maybe helping the next generation. Teach. Yeah. I I don't think I'm the world's best teacher. My patience is very, very, very non-existent sometimes. But yeah, I do think that, it's important to pass that on.
Okay, I mean, that's noble, mate. I'm glad you said that, because you know what? I was half expecting you to say something. Well, I was wrong. Well, Chris, I want to end up in the UK or the US and be a recording star or something like that. I thought you would probably want to go there.
I like that too. I'm not saying I don't.
Okay. I mean, it's fair. It's fair because you're 23, 24 years old, man. You're a young guy. You got so many years to go.
Who says that can't happen in between?
Sure, sure. Right. But I just want to know whether that would be the thing that you want to hit, in your life.
I think at a certain point it really was. And I think being very honest with you, it like scares me now. Yeah.
Why so?
I think there's a certain comfort in this bubble, as much as sometimes I like to complain about the whatever industry, whatever. But just being here and being with my with my group and like doing well here with my groups or like with my career, and just
enjoying it.
Yeah, but the truth is actually I've always been very inspired and musically inspired by like Western styles of music. So yeah, I do not understand I do not understand certain local. I don't understand the love for certain like styles of music here as much as what I love, which is fine. Everyone can love what they want to love, right? Yeah. So, but the thing is like bringing it there to like where it originates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, like it's like the real deal, like it's almost kind of fantasy land for me.
Yeah. That's why I want to know. I mean, there's got to be. I was just. That's why my expectations were that this young, talented Songster Monster would have set his sights on something way larger. And well, each to his own. If that's what your plan is to teach, but you know something, man. I think you can. I think you can really go right past the stratosphere, man.
Thank you.
You should. You really should, because it's very rare. Someone like you, you're rare.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've seen other people who can do their riffs and their runs, and they're not going to be seated in that seat. Nope. But I got you here.
Thank you.
And I'm convinced. I'm very convinced.
Thank you.
And anyway.
So no, I'm curious. Like, I want to ask you because like I understand the whole riffs and runs thing. Like, it's not for everybody. Yeah, I totally get that. Like, like don't get me wrong. Which is why actually when I do the stuff that I do, I really try to make sure that there's more than just that. There's just heart in it. Whatever it is, like, it can be like a totally riffless thing, but it can be all the riffs in the world. But you want to see that it's authentic. You want to see that it comes from that person's heart. And so, and that's when it will click. That's what I always felt. Yeah. So, yeah, I was like, I would say that I am authentically a pretty nerdy, runny, like, that's just me. And I try not to.
You express it that way.
Yeah, I express it that way. And I express it with like my harmonies and just, creating the sounds that make me like, make me happy.
I'm not complaining about your runs and riffs, man. I actually love your runs and riffs.
Thank you.
I just feel that there's some people who just do it way too much, and it's just overcooked.
Overbaked.
You can have a foie gras that's pan fried, or you can have a foie gras that's fancy fried. And I can tell you, the classical French chef will still say pan fried.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing.
For sure.
So I don't like the ones that overdo it, right? It's so overcooked. But yours comes in very nice. And that's the reason why when we started the show, I played that video because I was so impressed by that one.
Thank you.
I really was. And I don't get so easily impressed that often, to be fair. Yeah, if the people who come on this tribute show, if they have contributed or still contributing to the music business and industry via whatever they do, they could be a club owner. They could even be radio DJs. They could be, not just musicians alone, right? As long as it's helping to grow music here in Singapore. And I feel that they're really doing something great or done something great or will be something great, then they sit in that chair.
Oh, man.
Okay? If not, you can fuck it, man. That's not going to happen, man. Well, we couldn't be singing a song. And I'm going to tell you now, man, I watched this video of you singing this song. And the song that we're about to sing. Can we play that video, please, Kai?
This one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh man, this is a great night.
Where was this, man?
I'll tell you later.
Take my whole life
Oh, wow. Thanks, Kai.
Thank you, Kai.
You know something, man? When I saw you sing that song, the thing about me is this. A singer is a singer. Singer can be a good singer, a great singer even. But first, you must be an entertainer.
I believe so too.
Yeah. And you've got people singing along with you. There's a vibe that you exude, and you love it when people actually interact and work with you. You work the crowd, and when you work that room or work that crowd, to me, that guy's an entertainer. So that's cool. And then you sang that song, right? Let me tell you something about that song. I do a lot of Elvis. I've been doing it for as long as I can fucking remember, and I still do it. Yeah. And that's a song that I got down on my knees during a show in front of ministers and stuff. And my wife was my manager. And that was where I proposed to her. I proposed to her singing this song. So this is a very, very important song to me. So that's something we're going to be doing right to end the show. But thank you so very much for being on the show, really, for coming all this way and spending time with me today.
Of course.
I hope you had fun.
I had a blast. I learned so much.
No, come on. I'm the one that's learned a lot, man.
No, I think it's a mutual.
Jeez, good. No. I mean, dude, there's no way that I can even come close to who you are and what you've done, man. I mean, at this age of yours in 24 and done whatever you've done so far, God, the world's your oyster, man.
Oh my gosh.
Really, man. I am a big admirer of yours. I'm very, very proud to have had you on the show. And my tribute to you, my friend, keep the music rolling, okay? Thank you. Everyone, thank you so very much for watching this episode of Tribute to SG's Music Icons with me and my guest, the guy I have given tribute to, Owen Li. Watch out for this young man. He's a freaking monster, okay? Really, this guy, mark my words.
Thank you.
He's going to be one of the next big things here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for being on the show. And until next time, people, keep season 4 going. Please watch the rest of our episodes. And until the next time, this is Chris Hansen saying, I'll see you again. Okay? Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you.
Just would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you?
Like a river flows, churning through the sea. Darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too. For I can't help falling in love with you. Like a river flows surely to the sea. Darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too. For I can't help falling in love with you. One more time. For I can't help falling in love with you. That was brilliant, dude. I never had it that way.
Yeah, I was just kind of vibing off of your vibe, man.
I mean, my vibe. Again, I'm gonna say this old man vibe.
No, I love I'm very used to I like to think that I am a versatile.
You are.
Yeah,
You are.